Hello, everyone. It's still Thursday. It's 9:58 p.m. It's leap year day, isn't it? February 29th, 2024. So, um, well, I'm I think that between me being in jail and then me being out in the cold last night, I ended up getting sick. Excuse me. So I had to I wanted to, well, needed to try to postpone the job interview that was for today. Um, Try to postpone it to a later date because I'm I'm sick right now, and I've been like just tired, and so I have been days of sleep deprived. Excuse me, days of sleep deprived, and I heard that that will weaken your immune system also. So, well, this morning, well, last night, I don't remember if I got any sleep, and if I did, it wasn't that much. I had, being out on the streets and sleep sitting up. So, excuse me. Um, you know, my anxiety is really high right now, so bear with me. Um, so by the time of 7 o'clock, um, I had to pee really bad, and I had to use the bathroom really bad, and I was so tired, dead, like my body was crying and dying for some sleep. And it was too cold outside this morning. Excuse me. And so I'm still sleepy and tired right now. Um, Excuse me. So, well, I checked into the hotel, and you know, I was dying for a place to lay down somewhere comfortable and get me some sleep. And I felt extremely dirty from being in jail, you know, because it's like when I was in jail, it looked like they had, you know, a light coating of blood on all the mattresses, or almost all of the mattresses, and I didn't want to lay or sleep on that, and I was forced to. They tried to force me to, and it's just gross and disgusting. Just like a lot of these homeless shelters. So, um, excuse me. So I had went to the grocery store and got I got me some some hygiene items and breakfast, and a few other things, and that turned out to be like $76 and something, I think. you know so um and then I'm glad and thankful that I was able to get my necessary supplements. Excuse me. And that's gonna help me heal faster. Like I've been sneezing and having like heavy chest congestion and sneezing all day. You know, and not so much coughing, not a whole lot of coughing, but mainly sneezing and heavy chest and throat congestion. You know, so um I've been trying to detox and I'm glad I was able to get my supplements and everything. Excuse me, that was like another 70 something dollars. Excuse me. So this morning I just had like some simply just cheesy grits, eggs, sausage, and a biscuit. And I had like this guava lemonade. And I was waiting around for a very important phone call this morning. Otherwise, I would have taken a shower and gone to sleep sooner. But I told them to call me at 9 o'clock this morning. And I've been given the runaround for my deposit from Florida, and I still never got it yet. And now the lady put me on hold for a while, but when I put her on hold, she acted like she she couldn't wait around for that long. You know, and I'm like, I never experienced that. That you're rushing me to get off the phone, you know, when I put you on hold to look for something. But earlier in the conversation, you put me on hold for quite a while. So you got an attitude and rushed me off the phone, forced me off the phone, and I couldn't even get my problem resolved. So I would have to try to call back again, and try again to get the problem resolved. You know, I've been trying for months. But earlier, when I talked to the guy on the phone, he nearly succeeded at solving my problem. And I don't even know if the perps interfered with the phone conversation and they hacked in and hung up so that my problem couldn't be solved. And then I had to deal with the female that I just told y'all about. But I mean, when they try to make it like they mute your phone or do things to your phone, and then like the guy gave me like no chances. Like he was like hello, and the moment that there was silence and I didn't realize it, and I'm trying to say hello, 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 and then like all he said was hello one time, and he didn't hear anything. He quickly hung up, and it's like damn. After me and him were almost very close to solving the problem. So I guess it's been a difficult, like I had this mail service back in 2018 and 19, and I did not have problems like this. You know, I had no problems with people sending me my whatever mail that I needed. But for some reason, it's, I've been doing the same format unless things have changed, and it's been like difficult to get certain pieces of mail, or if they feel like that the system won't accept the mail being formatted, the mailing address being formatted this way or that way, Excuse me. So I still have not been able to get that deposit but I'm still fighting, you know. And so, um, I had like some other important phone calls. Well, I mean, they waited till like after 4 o'clock this afternoon to call me. When I asked them about I asked them about calling me at 9 o'clock this morning. And then they didn't call till 4 o'clock at noon. And excuse me, um, well, like I waited around like after it was like at about 9:45 this morning. I figured they weren't gonna call me, so I figured I would take a risk of missing the call. And I just was so desperate and couldn't wait to get a shower and get clean after eating breakfast. You know, and I was eating my breakfast and keep on peeping at my phone, you know, waiting around for them to call me, you know. And so then I went to take a shower. Excuse me. And I'm glad I remembered to document that somewhat towards the end of me taking a shower, they were squeezing my organs, you know. So it was sometime after 10 o'clock this morning, probably after 10:30, I dozed off and fell asleep. And my body definitely needed that sleep. And then I woke up at I think I may have woke up at 1 something and was still tired and went back to sleep and got more sleep. And probably 1:30. And then I woke up maybe another time, and I ended up waking up at 4:30. You know, I think I woke up at 4 o'clock and then was still tired and got more sleep, and finally woke up at about 4:30 and tried to make, you know, and I discovered that missed call from what I was explaining earlier. And excuse me. So I got to try again to resolve that problem, and then I called for another thing for something else, and you know, and then the mail service, I called and try to question and ask about the format of the mailing address or whatever, and the lady was rude and unhelpful, you know. But if you see all the Google reviews of that place, they always mention her name about giving such excellent customer service and being very helpful and stuff. You know, I don't even know if she got multiple personalities, because I've had a couple of moments on the phone where she would be rude and unhelpful. And her being rude and unhelpful was the reason why I couldn't get the mailing address back in October like I was trying to. And then, I mean, she gave me a really, really, really rough time. But then in January, she was nice and very helpful, and went out of her way to stay on the phone with me as long as possible, and supportive and nice. And maybe another time. And then today she felt like being rude again. So, you know, her attitude in the beginning was what held me off on getting this mail service, you know. And I had to pay in advance for the whole entire year. That's another reason why I can't leave New Orleans. And I mean, but I don't want to leave New Orleans. But due to the gang stalking and narcissistic abuse and everything, they are trying to force me to hate it here. They are trying to force me to hate it here when I naturally will love it, but they are trying to force me to hate it here. They did that with me in Pensacola. You know, I love Pensacola and I love Los Angeles, but the people would make you hate the whole damn city, you know. But it's all part of the gang stalking, you know. Excuse me. So, but but then so I'm glad I was able to get my you know, the hygiene items, my supplements, and a few other things, you know. And don't expect me to buy like cheap Dollar Tree fluoridated like toothpaste or whatever, cuz I don't use that anymore, you know. So um I use other products now to try to keep my mouth clean whenever I can, you know. So yeah, I mean, I don't even use fluoridated toothpaste anymore. I have not really used that in like over a decade now. You know, after waking up to the truth and stuff like that, you know. Um so I mean, if you can brush your teeth with coconut oil or something like that, you know, that helps. And so excuse me. So but I so basically I didn't get to have any plain water to drink for the day, throughout the day until during dinner, you know. And dreaded to I dreaded to go to get dinner because I felt like I just needed a break from the gang stalking, you know. But I mean, it wasn't about me being too lazy, you know. But I pushed myself out to go and walk to go eat dinner, and and then well, I had like some chicken nachos and lemonade, and I had a cookie, but oh, I couldn't eat. I didn't eat the cookie. I mean, I saved the cookie. I did not eat the cookie, but excuse me, those nachos, I felt like, wow, that's so much nachos. You know, it's a lot. But I would have eaten like probably half of it. But I discovered that this hotel room does not have. I don't see, or there isn't a refrigerator or a microwave in this hotel. Excuse me. So I had to eat everything all at once. So I'm like, well, if I would have known that they didn't have, um, if I would have realized that they didn't have refrigerator and microwave, and if I would have known that that was that much food, then um, I would not have gotten I would not have gotten the that plate of nachos. That was so much. But you know, I ate all of it because, you know, I didn't want it to go to waste, you know. But I didn't have lunch because I was asleep. And so so I mean, that was the first of any water that I had. Like, well, I had some more lemonade later on. Like with my dinner, I had lemonade and water, and but I had some more water when I took my supplements. And, you know, now I am full. Felt like as if I crammed water, like this evening or tonight or whatever. And so, um, Excuse me. So the fake Darnell Williams perp, the fake Aquarium Doris perp, and quite a few other regular perps and fake TI perps were harassing me online. So I had like the online harassment and in-person gang stalking. And then a few other people defended and agreed with the fake TI perps. You know. Excuse me. So I had to block quite a few people. So, but I feel like my throat and my chest feel like congested. It feels kind of congested, numb, and scratchy all at the same time. You know. Excuse me. So, yeah, I really think jail had something to do with why I'm feeling sick. But I'm gonna recover and feel better. I'm not that bad. But I'm, sick, and I'll get over, you know, I'll feel better soon. I will feel better soon. So it's cold and rainy tonight, and I'm thankful and glad that I have a hotel room tonight, you know, and, I will not stop filming and recording the gang stalking for as long as I live. And when somebody try to lecture you about your behavior and tell you stop recording, that's a dead giveaway that you're a perp. You're not targeted, and you're pretending to be targeted. And then you mention something about believing that you have schizophrenia. Yeah, you're not targeted. You're a perp, and a narcissistic one at that. When you dish out unsolicited advice and talking about what you suggest or recommend, I didn't ask for your opinion. And then you never talked to me before, and then you just make a random, out of the blue, smart ass, disrespectful comment, and then everybody defends and agrees with you, you know. So, wow. And so, the fake Aquarium Doris perp, yeah, that was her. I heard that she tried to contact the sleep in and call them up and slander me, you know. And then the fake Darnell Williams perp was making dozens of fake harassing comments, excuse me, and telling me. And now he's the one. He's extremely sexually perverted and extremely disgusting. And if people figure it out with him, the way him and the fake Aquarium Doors people, if somebody tracked them down and the other online stalkers, they should go to jail or prison for what they're doing to me. If I've been told to, leave me alone, I've told them to back off and leave me alone several times. And they are violating my space and disrespecting me. And so they threatened, the fake Darnell Williams perp threatened to alert. Yeah, meaning smear campaign me. He bragged about how him and other online perps are gonna contact and smear campaign me to more hotels and restaurants and other places in the area. And grocery stores and everything else. So, I'm letting y'all know what's going on. And so, they had this abusive narcissistic perp that came on my YouTube and trying to say that, they shouldn't be cursing at you, but you shouldn't be trespassing either. Talking about the cops in that incident. So everybody wants to act, holier than thou and fake and self-righteous. When the gang stalkers trespass on a target's property, or when they do, and they never get arrested, or if I'm at a hotel or a motel and I have video evidence of gang stalkers trespassing on the property to shine their lights into my windows, the window of the hotel or motel that I would be staying at. So why don't these gang stalkers get arrested for invading the target's privacy? I mean, don't you hear about gang stalkers entering in, wait till the target is asleep and go into their home and drug them up and poison them, or put cameras all over their house, or they wait till you're gone to poison your food and do all this stuff to you? And these gang stalkers, if they would mess up your car or do whatever, and it's like mind-boggling and amazing what they could get away with. And that's why one of the reasons why I've been angry and lashing out, because of being frustrated that how unfair everything is. So like the fake Aquarium Doris perp bragged, and I don't know if she was lying or telling the truth, but she claims that she was the one that contacted Gretna police and told them about me. And then I put in a community post about her talking about that, yeah, I'm going to have you, next time you'll go to jail very soon, and my demons are working. And she was saying that her demons are working, and she said, yeah, next time you will be in jail for 33 days, that Masonic 33. I couldn't even handle 10 hours in jail. I was like, by 7 or 8 hours being in jail, I pretty much, by being confined or whatever, I nearly lost my fucking mind. And then being in a whole room full of women who, made me, like, they ganged up on me and bullied me and made me feel unwelcome. Well, of course, I wouldn't want to be in jail anyway, but being in a social situation, they treated me, they ganged up on me and bullied me. And not every single woman up in there, but, they ganged up on me and treated me like an outcast, and were unsupportive. And then, narcissists, it's like they even acted like how when you're in a homeless shelter and the women be self-righteous about rules and then trying to boss and control you, and try to act like they think they're staff, and trying to tell you about this rule and that rule. So the youngest one in there, she was already, like, it's like, wow, I go to jail and they have perps who are in that jail dorm, perps that are in there before me. So if perps were already there before I got there, and the main one that's perping with the red is the one who tried to puff herself up and had the biggest mouth that said nobody wants to hear about gang stalking. And I was afraid that I would get, if I would have continued to talk about gang stalking, they had me intimidated and afraid that I would get jumped. So, excuse me. I mean, and they ganged up on this white lady like earlier in the morning, and the way they get you up in jail at like 5 something, I don't know what time it was, 5 something in the morning. The way they get you up in jail, and you got to prepare for this and prepare for that, it's like homeless shelters. And I don't remember if they, now I don't think they wake you up so that early in a mental institution, in a mental hospital. Excuse me. So, um, yeah, I mean, and it's like, I wonder why they wouldn't let me wear this shirt. And I wasn't sure how cold it was, so I chose the hoodie over my shirt. And, you know, dog, I need, I mean, I've tried to sanitize, you know, my clothes as much as I could, you know, and I mean, I sanitized the jacket as best as I could. And I mean, can't wait to get my clothes like washed, you know. So yeah, the main ringleader, you know, the chief narc in the ghetto perp. It was a black female, and she looked like she was in her 20s, you know. And, you know, when I first came up in there, you know, the way that they acted towards me was reminiscent of homeless shelters, you know. Excuse me. And they had other women up in there perping as well. And then, you know, the one that was that self-righteous about stay off of other people's property. You know, she was and she was the one who threw up the devil horns. This was a different woman. She threw up the devil horns, you know. And it's like, how are you self-righteous? I mean, she asked everybody, well, oh, what are you in here? What are you in here for? Oh, what you in here for? And when I asked, well, what are you in here for? She's like, girl, stupid stuff. Just stupid stuff. We all in here for stupid stuff. We all in here for something stupid. You know, but they wanted me to feel so bad about, you know, my unintentional crime. But, you know, if you self-righteous about telling me, stay off of other people's property, and treated me like as if I'm dumb and retarded and lack common sense, you know, that was my first time, you know, I mean, if they wouldn't have ran me off and wrongfully trespassed me from by the old ferry, then I wouldn't have felt, you know, as last resort to go and buy that house. But I you know, if I would have known, I'm gonna repeat it. Like if I would have known that it was illegal to stay there, then I would not have gone there, and I would not have risked going to jail. You know. So, but as I said, I won't make the same mistake again. You know, if I see a house that says for sale, then okay, I won't try to go stay there. And the place looked like it was unlivable. You know, it wasn't even the place looked like it really needed to be remodeled. And they had a lock on the door, so there was no way I can get inside anyway. And even then I would not have tried to you know. But even if you look at the roof of the house, you know, it was damaged, and yeah, the whole house was pretty much damaged. So I mean, I sanitized that spot and sat down on the porch, and you know, I sat down on the porch. And I stayed there for 3 nights. And as I said, multiple police officers have passed by back and forth and said nothing. And I have at least one video of footage of because the police officers, they paused there and made me feel nervous, and then they drove off, and then like when I tried to film them while they were there, they froze my phone and then they drove off, and then so I couldn't get until the aftermath of their vehicles. But that Sunday night, multiple cops passed by, didn't say anything. Monday night, multiple cops passed by, didn't say anything. And Tuesday night, multiple cops passed by, didn't say anything. Super early Wednesday morning, they had passed by, and those cops passed by, and they passed right by and paused and looked dead at me, and then kept going, and then at the last minute made like a sharp jerk to turn around and then come and back up and then drive on the wrong side of the street, and then come and confront me, and I showed y'all the beginning of the video, and I was filming and recording until they rough handled me and jerked my phone out of my hand and threw it on the ground. This phone right here, my newer phone that has the active phone service. And they, I described about how they, how disrespectful and abusive they were. But I mean, if what I did was a crime, why didn't they should have told me something Sunday, or they should have done something Sunday when they saw me. But I did not know that it was wrong or a crime, and especially if multiple cops, and I'm like wondering why they following me, why they stalking me or whatever. And even they had that cop that I showed y'all about, a former Circle K, and that cop, used a direct energy weapon or something to deactivate my phone video, and I showed y'all who he was. So, I mean, now the same black female who threw up the devil horns, she wasn't purple with the red, but she threw up the devil horns, and it was a few others that said, "Stay off people property, it's not yours," or whatever. But, when people ask her, "Oh, what are you in here for?" And she said, "Well, she mentioned something about domestic violence or whatever, or something," and she said that that the guy that she had a fight with, or the baby daddy or whatever, she said that he died, that he's dead, so she think that she should be let off from the crime because he's dead. But she didn't kill him, I don't think. But it sounds like as if he died from another reason. But it's like, if y'all in here for bigger crimes than me, and crimes that y'all did on purpose, why y'all trying to make me feel so bad, so terrible, and nag my conscience, and make me feel like a horrible person? And then when she found out that she had to go upstairs, and then some of the other ladies that were self-righteous about my so-called crime, they felt hysterical and devastated that they were told that they're going to have to go upstairs. But the youngest perp with the braids and the white shirt and the red pants, when I asked her, What are you in here? What are you in here for? Domestic violence? Like with a deceitful looking smile on her face, like she was proud of what she did. And she said that she talked like she knows the whole entire system, but that's the youngest one. She talked like she knows the whole entire system with the jail or everything. But she said that was her first time going to jail. Oh, and it's like, as little as you are, how the hell you in jail for domestic violence? You beat on a man? Or, but they had this white female that was in jail for, you know, domestic violence, but she would, you know, but she actually was defending herself against her husband beating on her. And then the other ladies were saying, you know, the other ladies were saying that, oh, well, they're also gonna put a charge of child endangerment on you, or whatever. It's like I'm sitting here like, wow, you know. And then there was this other lady, the lady next to me. She was like, you know, I think her brother beat her up or something. And I don't want to get the story mixed up, but she said that she was in jail because her mom was ill or sick or something, and she missed the court date, and she forgot all about it, being distracted by her mom being sick, and then she had her brother die, and then the fact that she missed the court date, you know, she was devastated about having to go upstairs, and she was forced to have to miss her other brother's funeral. I mean, I felt so bad for her, you know, but at first I thought, I mean, it seemed like they were, like, when I first came up in there, you know, I was, you know, they brought me up in there, and I went to, it seems like that was the only bottom bunk that was available, because no way could I get at the top bunk, you know. In the bottom bunk, it had 2 mattresses, and then the other, the top bunk above mine had, you know, no mattress, and it had like some red piece of cloth hanging from the top of that bed. And I'm like, wow, they prepared this for me, you know. Excuse me. So, but so maybe within like 20 minutes, they waited till after I laid down, and within 20 minutes, you know, the youngest perp with the red pants and the lady next to me, the one whose brother died, they both, just like how homeless shelter people do, you know, trying to make rules for me and tell me what to do. And they're like, you know, you're gonna get in trouble for sleeping on 2 mattresses. You know, you gotta put one of them up there or whatever, up on the top. And I'm like, well, why should I get in trouble? I just got here. Or how should I get in trouble? I'm already in enough trouble. We in freaking jail. What more trouble could I get into? You know? So, I just slept on the mattress that looked a little bit cleaner, you know. And then they had the officer Jay Davis that came in the morning with the Jefferson Parish Sheriffs. You know, when I didn't realize that Jefferson Parish Sheriffs and the Gretna Police work together. I mean, I don't know how the jail system or the courts or the law, or I don't know. I'm very ignorant to all that, you know. And so, you know, I mean, excuse me. So, I mean, as I said, like when I was in Pensacola, I mean, because in New Orleans before, you know, I would be like, they wrongfully banned me from Harris Casino. Excuse me. And they didn't tell me why, and they told me that they didn't have to tell me why. And and it was black people that bullied and ganged up on me. Let me tell you something, because they got cameras. But I'm like, they have a homeless lady that's smoking in the bathroom while shitting and making all kinds of weird noises. She's smoking in the bathroom. She was smoking in the bathroom. And they kicked me out and not her. So, excuse me, when I showed y'all the other day, the day right when I got out of jail, the last place I stayed in Gretna, 1128th Street, that was the former address where I was at. I only got to stay there for 1 month, and they gang stalked me out of my home. And I was forced to have to break the lease, but no, they actually let me out of the lease, and I ended up homeless. And I thought that being a cab driver would save me and keep me afloat financially, so I wouldn't have to be homeless. They gang stalked me within 4 days. They gang stalked me off the cab driving job. Excuse me. And so after that, there was a homeless shelter in Harvey, very close to Marrero, and they had gang stalked me out of that homeless shelter, and so I went to the Salvation Army. They gang stalked and bullied me out of there, and they charged money to stay there, and they had bed bugs attacking me too bad, and they didn't care about doing anything. And I already told y'all about New Orleans Mission being a cult. And then they had a low barrier shelter that was always full. So I started off with going to me being scared, thinking about, oh, my cousin Blake that got shot and killed, me being afraid of something happening to me or whatever. So I thought that if I go someplace 24, I didn't even know that they do that to homeless people. That if you're homeless and you try to stay somewhere, to stay out of the elements and try to stay safe, then you get banned from places of business. I didn't know that, so I wasn't, because I didn't really have experiences like that before. So I was at Harris, I don't remember, I don't remember how long, but it was during the month of August. And I don't remember if it could have been a couple of weeks, during the daytime I would leave, but overnight I would just try to have some place to stay safe, I didn't mean any harm at all. Excuse me. And I heard that they were doing that to a lot of homeless people. And I heard that the biological brother Sean got wrongfully banned from there too. And he was homeless around the time I was homeless. But we didn't even stick together, or I couldn't even find him or he couldn't find me, But we kind of weren't getting along or weren't really on good terms around that time either, So, but after they, unjustly banned me from Harris Casino, I figured, well, they try to say you have to be gambling, that you can't just sit around But I'm like, wow, it's not good enough that I bought food from the restaurant up in there. I mean, I purchased food at the restaurant, and that's not it ate it, and that's not good enough. You have to be playing on the machines. So the one time I did gamble, in which I do not gamble, I hate it. I do not like gambling. The one time I did gamble, um, later on, yeah, they wrongfully banned me. You know, but I didn't know where else to go. And so, if if I try to stay by the bus stop by, say, for example, Poitras and Magazine, I don't know. They'll fake security guards will bully and run me off from there. If I try to stay by Canal Street by a bus stop or something, or by a place of business, oh, they run me off from there. If I stay, um, somewhere else downtown, oh, they run me off and harass me, and I wouldn't know where to go. You know. So then, I got a job with the Grand Canyon in Arizona, and they bullied me off the job. I mean, they workplace mobbed me from the Grand Canyon job. Excuse me, in Arizona, and and then I went to Los Angeles and was homeless, trying to get services. They said that there was nothing. I'm wrongfully banned from Union Rescue Mission forever in Los Angeles. And, I tried to go to Long Beach. There was really nothing. I tried to go to other places. Shelters weren't open, nothing. So I lived out homeless on the beach in Santa Monica. And I heard about dangerous things happening to homeless people. And, and then, all my stuff got stolen. But I would have ended up back in New Orleans sooner. But all my stuff got stolen, and I was stranded out there. And I finally got the work paycheck from the Grand Canyon. And after that, I was able to take me for the first and only time in my life, I took an Amtrak, one way from Los Angeles all the way to New Orleans. I would like to experience the Amtrak ride again. I like taking an Amtrak. I like it. To me, it's like a mixture of the Greyhound bus and flying on a plane. I love flying on planes, but it's been almost 20 years since I ever flew on a plane. So I have not got to fly on a plane in almost 20 years. So, but then I came back and yeah, I like every place I try to lay my head or sleep downtown, um, they would harass me away from the place. And I mean, I even try to sit out by try to sit outside somewhere thinking that I would feel safe, on UNO's campus. And people kept calling the police on me. And I didn't know that, was considered wrong. I'm just trying to be where I can be safe, you know. But, and then, like, for January, no, it was December 2018 and January 2019. A couple of weeks I stayed at the Marquette House Hostel. I think they said it was on Carondelet off of St. Charles or something. And by the time of Mardi Gras, or right after Mardi Gras, they gang stalked me out of there. And at one point in time, at this motel that was in Gretna, the most I was able to afford to stay was 1 week, and then suffer the rest on, like, it was $250 a week plus $5 key deposit, and that motel is shut down, you know. But now it's they changed it to a hotel, you know. Excuse me. But so I mean, that Marquette House hostel was like, I don't know if they raised the prices, but that was the only hostel that I can stay for $100 a week. But you were forced to have roommates, and they were gang stalkers, and I didn't know back then. And people were always stealing my food. In the refrigerator, they would always steal my food. You know, so and excuse me, and then they had this lady that came from California, and she was fake nice, but always wanting to give me gifts, and she admitted that she was a witch, and I didn't feel comfortable accepting any of her gifts or anything, you know. But she was in the same hostel dorm room as me, you know. And they had this lady turn out to be a narcissistic control freak fake friend, and she was a perp. Her name was Lorraine, and she was staying there. And she tried to make like as if they were always persecuting her cat, but then she turned out to be a perp, you know. Excuse me. Excuse me. So, um, so I mean, I couldn't stay at the hostel, and then, you know, they trespassed me from UNO's campus, and then, I was staying at the old airport for like maybe a week, and just overnight, not all day and all night. Like in the morning, I would leave and then go back downtown New Orleans. And so my tax refund check, when I got my tax refund check, I went to that's when I moved to Pensacola, because I felt like I was kicked out of my hometown. And it's like I didn't know where to go. I didn't have anywhere to go. Excuse me. And when I was in Pensacola, I would be staying you know, at the park downtown. Like the first 2 nights, they gang stalked me out of that Heavenly Blessing shelter, and it was very unsafe to stay there. And they were trying to take my whole pay. They were trying to take all my damn money. And excuse me, and they were trying to take all my money. And look at the bad food that they feed people. You know, you pay to live in prison. You know, and even Heavenly Blessings was a cult. And it was just all kinds of just trouble out there. I mean, at that spot, you know. And they were very controlling. And so I left there and never looked back. And opening doors, they didn't help me since day one. I mean, it was like May 15th, 2019, I got on the list for that area housing. And, you know, and that was, I mean, I was on the list for over 4 years, and I finally got the opportunity and only was able to stay there for a month. Y'all all know about that. Excuse me. So until then, excuse me, I tried, excuse me, different, tried fight so hard to get housing, put opportunity to get a roof over my head. A sea trip in Pensacola. That black man, Tracy Boyd, refused to hire me because I was homeless. I'm like, that could have got me out of my situation. Possibly. But he was a perp. And he didn't want to hire me because I was homeless. And, so I tried a few other, job opportunities. Nobody wanted to hire me, and then eventually I got a couple of jobs or whatever, and everything gang stalking, workplace mobbing, and so I was staying like at that little park downtown in Pensacola. The police in Pensacola, like me staying at the park overnight, they had a couple of other homeless people that were men. I was the only woman. But excuse me, the police never, ever, ever, ever told me anything. Never told me anything. But, excuse me, the police never said anything. And then me trying to walk 2 or 3 blocks to have some place to go use the bathroom, and they were forced urinating me, and I would always have moments where I would end up not being able to make it to that spot to go pee and end up peeing on myself. Excuse me, and I would get sprinkled on or get wet like every morning from the sprinklers from the park, and so yeah, the downtown Pensacola police, they never told me anything. And so they had a homeless white man that told me to go, find a shelter overhead or something, because he said it was going to rain really bad. And they had, like, the sky was purple, and there was a lot of, the sky was like black and purple, and they had a whole bunch of, a lot of thunder and lightning. And so I went by the Everman place because that was all I knew. I was new in town. Excuse me. And I just try to have a safe, shelter overhead. And I was days of sleep deprived. And the moment that I blacked out and dozed off and did not realize it and had no control over it and wasn't even aware, the guy was like, "Hey man, you can't sleep here. Keep it moving." So I got nervous and I got up and left. Then later on, I came back and I came back, and the rain had stopped. And I was waiting for the store to open. I was not asleep that second time. And he just looked out of the window and called the police on me from a distance. Excuse me. And that's when they had the good cop, bad cop. And, they wrongfully banned me from there. First, they said it was a whole year. And I'm like, Everman was like one of the first places, I think it was the first place that I ever, in Pensacola that I applied to work at, And I thought they said they were hiring and that they needed people. So, excuse me, the so-called good cop, both of the cops are way younger than me. The so-called good cop, he was the one who suggested that I go stay at an abandoned bank in Pensacola. Excuse me. So, that place was probably somebody's property. It said for sale. Or for lease or something. I don't remember. And so, whatever place that said for sale or for lease, like even by 532 West Garden Street, they were even saying that they had for sale or for lease or whatever. Or if I stayed by the alleyway by 532 or 528 West Garden Street, and all the times cops saw me, and for almost 2 years or whatever, and told me like much of nothing, you know. But in 2019, I wasn't really asking for money that much or asking for help, trying to be independent. Excuse me. But then that thing happened in 2020. And then the inflation and everything going up and making it harder for everybody. And then increased bad weather and all that. But I will never forget, I was forced to be homeless outside during Hurricane Ida. And in April of 2018, I'm sorry, not 18, I meant to say April 2021, I almost lost my life in a bad tornado and bad storm. Being out there on the streets. So, I didn't ask for much help for a hotel room because I would stay by the abandoned bank or whatever other place that said for sale or for lease or whatever. But, you know, um, so I, all those times that if I stayed by someplace, the only time they would say, "Oh, you trespass," is if the business owner or somebody claiming to be the business owner called up the police and made a complaint. But other than that, you know, I never really went to jail in Pensacola for so-called trespassing, unless the business owner or somebody claiming to be would call up and make a complaint. You know, so that one time, after they wrongfully banned me from the levee spot near the old Gretna Ferry, that was my first time trying that, you know, to stay by anywhere that was abandoned or for sale or for lease or whatever. And you know, and downtown Pensacola, they had a few properties that if they said for sale or for lease, and I'm sleeping there, and the police don't really tell me much of nothing. So I thought it was like that everywhere, but that was my first and only time, you know, laying down by a property, you know, by an abandoned or vacant or whatever for sale. Like, I didn't even stay like by a house for sale in Pensacola, not a house that was for sale, but downtown Pensacola, I saw other homeless people that would be by a house that's for sale, you know. But my only time trying this, I end up they throw me in jail, you know, and like without my phone camera, you know, the police officer was threatening to throw me in jail for exercising my right to remain silent. You know, I was quiet for a while, and she kept telling me that she was gonna tell take me to jail if I didn't answer her questions. But not one point, you know, I don't remember. I don't think that they ever asked me, "What is your name?" You know, they didn't get my They didn't get my name or my information. And I mean, they dug in my backpack and got my wallet after I was already taken into custody after we got to the jail place. You know, excuse me. And that's when they got my identity. Or that's when they, you know, inquired about my identity. But, you know, so it's like they changed the charge from criminal trespassing to criminal mischief. And that Officer J. Davis said that it's the same thing. But I looked online and it didn't sound like it was the same thing because I didn't damage anything of that property. You know, I was just trying to find, you know, have someplace safe that I mistakenly thought was okay, you know. And the only property damage that when they wouldn't first they told me to grab my stuff, and then they wouldn't let me grab my stuff. And first they told me to grab my stuff, then they told me don't get my stuff. And I figured, you know, I knew it was all part of the gang stalking. That's why I was like, the hell with y'all. I ain't listening to y'all. I ain't listening to y'all. But they threatened me with the flashlights. And as aggressive as they were, I don't know if they were going to shoot or tase me. And I have never been shot or tased before. You know. But, yeah, I mean, I tried to. They wouldn't let me get all my stuff. You know, like they got mostly everything except the work shoes, in which, and I had a little bit of trash that I was planning to take with me, but you know, they wouldn't let me. You know, they wanted to control everything. So, you know, they abused their power. Plain and simple. I'm not a criminal, but they abused their power. You know, and they treat you like worse than an animal. And it's like being in a jail cell is like being a dog in a kennel or something like that, or a dog or an animal in a cage. And then they feed you through this small little slot through the door, you know. And food that you know, people even compare children's school lunch. Like they even say, like, have videos on, you know, how schools for children are compared to the prison sentence, grooming children for prison. Our system is freaking sick. So you've been in prison for like 6 or 7 hours a day for 12 years as a freaking child. What we did to deserve that, and then to be brainwashed and indoctrinated with a whole bunch of lies. Excuse me. So, excuse me. You know, so, yeah, I mean, but I figured that it had to have been, or probably was a perp that probably call the police. And as I said, if I knew it was gang stalking related, that was one of the reasons why I wasn't cooperative. But another reason, though, I was so freaking sleep deprived. Excuse me. And you know, certain things that I was so sleep deprived, you know, that I didn't even realize that, they kept yelling at me saying, take your hands out of your pocket. And me being so sleep deprived, I didn't even realize that I kept putting my hand in my pocket being nervous. I didn't even realize I was doing it. I wasn't, now that part, I wasn't intentionally trying to be disobedient or anything like that. But I think that they were mad at being filmed because they knew that they had something crooked up their sleeve, and they were perps too. And excuse me, I'm very traumatized by the abuse that they did to me, and by my jail experience. But at the same time, I'm not gonna shut up about, and I'm not gonna stop doing videos exposing this gang stalking abuse. Or I'm not gonna shut up. And then, people want to say stop doing videos, stop filming, and they want to lecture me about my behavior. Why aren't y'all lecturing the people that's, Hitlerizing you and, poisoning and gassing and cooking you, and doing all this covert evil and driving with one hand? Like, why don't you lecture them up? They're the ones who should be lectured about bad behavior. They sold their souls and committed to this. So but I'm thankful and glad that they have some people who had my back and defended me, and one person was supportive of me and mentioned that, of me being, that I wouldn't have to go through this if I weren't forced homeless and forced jobless due to the MK Ultra. How invasive can you get by remote neural monitoring, and y'all know exactly what a target is thinking or what they see or what they hear, trying to play God with our lives. Excuse me, y'all invade and disrespect our property. Now, the police was a hypocrite. They were hypocrite, for, condemning me about, I didn't destroy the property at all. I didn't vandalize, I didn't do any of that. I was just there, existed there. But you intentionally, kicked and dragged my property and threw my stuff all over the place. You were violent and aggressive and abusive towards me. You broke my phone. And then, online with me showing that, here's proof. Excuse me. When I show proof, that here's proof that the police broke my phone. They said, where's the evidence and how were you able to record that? Well, I was able to record it from my other phone that I use as a tablet. Excuse me, my older phone. Now, if it was the older phone that's used as a tablet, if that got damaged, then I wouldn't have been so upset. But this is the newer phone, and this is what I'm currently using. And it's hard for me. They cracked my phone, and so it's hard for me to see everything necessary on the screen. And then the phone, it takes longer to charge. Um, it takes longer to charge up the phone. You know, and now, I cannot afford. I just got the paycheck. I cannot afford to. Excuse me. I cannot afford a new phone. Like, I need a new phone. I need new shoes. I need more new underwear. Um, and all I have is like I have one T-shirt, and I have those work clothes, and two pairs of sweatpants, a hoodie, and another jacket or whatever. You know, and I have three pairs of socks, and by me menstruating and stuff, and being homeless, and only could afford the cheapest freaking undies, underwear. I only have one bra, and I don't have a storage unit or anywhere to put. So I have like all my belongings. I have to carry it on me. Excuse me, but you know, yeah. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that people are doing or saying that's hypocritical and unfair and upsetting. If you treat me like I'm really retarded and lack common sense, but I'm like, what are you in jail for? Domestic violence. And she did like a deceitful looking smile on her face, like what, the biological brother Derek, or the biological brother Ramona, or the biological sister. I mean, the biological sister Ramona, the biological brother Derek, or the biological brother Wyatt, or how they would do. I mean, like, you're fake embarrassingly proud that you're in jail for domestic violence. But and that officer falsely accused me of hold on. Excuse me. I've been homeless for so many years, and she falsely accused me of intentionally trying to go to jail just for a place to sleep, and that's not true. I'm like, I don't even want to be there. It was horrible up in there. Make me want to fight harder against, like, going to hell when I die. That's a very hard. I mean, and that wasn't even prison. That was just a freaking jail. And it's like a horrible place where you don't want to go. Excuse me. And the fake Darnell Williams perp freaking harassing me about a probation officer. I don't have a probation officer, but they want me in more trouble than I already am. So if the gang stalkers, if they're bragging about doing witchcraft to make sure I go to jail, then I've committed no crime. If they're doing witchcraft to set me up and everything, excuse me. So, but I mean, I'm so sick and tired of people telling me ignore them and don't give them your energy when the cops are freaking perps. I mean, the situation from Sunday, they were gang stalkers. The cops were gang stalking too. And all these freaking threats. Excuse me, but these demons, they followed through with their threats. And just to, they probably did just throw me in jail just to scare me. When excuse me. And I heard that throwing people in jail, excuse me, is part of the part of human trafficking and the mind control. You know, the part of the mind control. You know, I mean, and then that was the second time of me going to jail and being told stuff like, "Oh yeah, I bet you've been to jail before." Like, well, this time I gotta say, yeah, I have. But they threw the case out in 2007 because, um, even 2007, and I mean, they called me the N word that I can't, the racial N word that I can't say in here, and say on here, and you know, and that detective said that I bet you've been to jail before, and he told me the N word, and the N word that pertains to black people, you know, and um, you know, I didn't know about this scam going on where people would, you know, write you a bad check when trying to. I didn't know about the online scammers, you know. Excuse me, and then you know, a scam that happens where they write you a bad check and pretending that they're buying something from you, and they write you from a bad check from a bank that doesn't exist. That the check and everything looks legit, and I did not know about this, and so I went to cash the check, and they called the police on me, and I got, I'm gonna say, wrongfully arrested. You know, because if I would have known that that was a fake check or a bad check, I would not have gone to cash it. I would have thrown it away, or I would not have even signed on it. I wouldn't have done any of that if I would have known that it was fake. I didn't know, you know. So they threw that case out, and that got expunged off my record. You know, so excuse me. But I mean, the online stalkers, they're the cyber criminals, but they will falsely paint me as a criminal. But I don't even go out here, you know, with the intent to try to commit crimes or try to do wrong, not on purpose, you know. But the Gretna police, they are they are bullies. And they are abusive and cruel. They don't have to treat people like that. If you feel like you got to treat people like that, then you shouldn't be in that profession. You know, and when I was at jail yesterday, was it yesterday morning? Yeah. Excuse me. Like, I was before the fingerprinting. They had a police officer that bragged and joked about how he only takes a shower once a week. You know, he was bragging and laughing about it, you know. But he didn't appear to stink or nothing. You know, he said that he wasn't really active, or he didn't do much or nothing. But excuse me. So yeah, but I mean, all this gang stalking and the murder program that y'all allow and do nothing about. But you were trying to make it like as if I committed worse than blasphemy of the Holy Spirit, or the worst sin or crime ever, because I didn't know it was considered breaking the law by, you know, sitting by a vacant property to try to stay safe in case it rains. And I was attacked all my forehead, all my face, like mosquitoes attacking me and torturing me and biting me all over my body nonstop. You know, excuse me. So, churches do not allow homeless people to sleep on their property. And they even say that they will call the police. So churches are compliant with Satan's system and the 501c3 selling out. And they had a pastor in, I think, Cincinnati metro area that got wrongfully arrested and went to jail. You know, for they got wrongfully arrested. He got wrongfully arrested and went to jail for I don't want to get the story mixed up, but I think he was helping out homeless people and allowing them to sleep on the property out of the cold and everything, you know. But just because you go to jail does not always mean that you're a bad person or a criminal. You know, hopefully, y'all keep me in your prayers. Hopefully, this case can be thrown out or expunged. But, you know, if the gang stalking network didn't force me homeless, then, you know, I mean, I heard it happen to other homeless people too, you know. If you're homeless and you get arrested for trespassing, but yeah, they try to make it sound worse by falsely lying and saying criminal mischief. And then try to say, oh, it's the same thing, when it doesn't sound like it's the same thing. But y'all committed criminal mischief towards me. You know, and whoever owns that property, you know, if he's offended by me just sitting there, you know, I would like to apologize to him, you know, and say that I did not have any ill intent or any harm, even if other homeless people in that situation probably would have, you know, done something destructive because they'd be on drugs, you know. But I'm just sitting here trying to survive the best way I know how and trying to stay safe. But all the stuff that the gang stalkers do to me, cops say that it's legal and that they're not wrong. Like, neighbors threatening me. Oh, they could say whatever they want. People lie every day, or people threaten every day. It's just words. So you're not going to take them to jail, but if I cuss you out, you'll take me to jail. You know. So, you know, you're not going to take the neighbors to jail for blaring super loud music. But I heard stories about people being beat to a bloody pulp by police for blasting loud music, especially at a traffic stop, you know. So what happened to that right to peaceful and quiet enjoyment? But y'all strategically wait until after 11 p.m. to blare super loud music right after somebody trying to go to bed. You know. So, see, it's supposed to rain for the next few days, but you know, the fact that it's supposed to rain for the next few days, excuse me, I can't stay in an extended stay place. I can't find, I mean, and it's like, I'm describing how similar shelters are to prisons, and you never been there. So if you try to say, oh, still try to get into the shelters, would you pay to go? Would you pay to go live in jail? Would you be willing to pay to go live in jail or prison? Excuse me. I bet you wouldn't. But it's a lot of mind control and manipulation and brainwashing, cult like mind control in the shelters, and I'm pretty sure it like re-education and MK Ultra and mind control in the jails and prisons also. Like illegal human experimentation. That you ever hear about that in jails and prisons, in the homeless shelters. They using us as an MK Ultra mind control experiment. Excuse me. Picture that though. Stay off of people's property. And then you throw up devil horns. And then you have a meltdown because you gotta go upstairs. You gotta go upstairs. But I got released, and police give innocent people false charges all the time. Fake charges or false charges all the time. So, and even that officer Jay Davis, as I said, I think I remember she threw up the devil horns. Or was it the 666 hand sign? I think she threw up the devil horns too. It was the other officer, I can't remember her name. I think one of the officers that arrested me. She had her last name starts with an M, but I can't remember. And I think that the bully officer that was with all those antics and everything, the one who dragged all my belongings and threw my phone on the ground and everything, I think her name was Officer Christiana or something, but they lied and said that it would be on my paperwork when I leave, and their names are not on there. I have to go to the JP Sheriff's Office in the Harvey, and that would cost money as well for me to get those records. So the online stalkers are making attempts at trying to take notes or trying to take notes on my financial obligations. And the fake Darnell Williams perp was like, "Oh, did you know that Cash App and this and that, whatever? Or did you pay your taxes yet? Or did you do this? Did you do that? Did you know this? Oh, did you tell everybody in the jail cell that you have a bachelor's degree? Or did you do this? Or did you, like, none of your fucking business? Like, leave it the hell alone." But I heard harassment was a freaking crime. I heard that cyber harassment was considered a felony crime. But I asked a police officer about cyber stalking. Not, I didn't mention gang stalking, but cyber stalking and cyber harassment. He said that there was nothing that could be done about it. And I'm like, y'all just don't want to. But any other time, if they was just say, "Oh, you trespass" or whatever, they wouldn't take me to jail. They just, would tell me you trespass and then make me leave. But they came at me aggressive and hot-headed already. And they probably were upset at a previous situation and then took it out on me. And that's a possibility. Either that or they were straight up gang stalkers. Yeah, the officer that her name starts with an M, the one that snapped her fingers at me like a dog, and they don't even know me, and they try to say it's apparent that you have a listening problem or you have problem following directions or something they said, I don't remember. that, oh, you have a problem with not listening. But I was freaking very sleep deprived. You know, very sleep deprived. And then had another night of no sleep in jail. No sleep. And then last night, another night, little to no sleep. So my body was crying and dying for sleep. You know. Oh, excuse me. And the fake Darnell Williams perk was like, it was after I had already paid the dog on one of the bills. He was like, oh, did you pay your medical bill? Did you pay your 2 medical bills like you were supposed to? Did you do this? Like, get the fuck. Go somewhere. So, you know, and it's like they can get away with threatening me all they want. And I mean, I refuse to make any complaints to Gretna police. Fuck Gretna police. I hated them all my life. I hated those motherfuckers from the moment I witnessed the foster dad Al get arrested and go to jail. I had not respected them since. You know. I mean, I was 8 years old when I saw Al go to jail. I cried all fucking day long. And from then on, I mean, because I heard that John from that Masonic Craft family, I heard that John set Al up. I don't know what he set him up with, but he set him up. From what I heard, you know, that John set him up. And he got arrested and went to jail, you know. And the fake foster mom, Ann, I don't know if she bailed him out, you know, or not. But see, yesterday when I got arrested and went to jail, I had nobody to call. Nobody to call. But, you know, like some of the workers there and some of the other people say, well, you're going to be let out. You know, they say, oh, you ain't going to stay long. You're getting out real soon. But the ones that staying is the main ones that's self-righteous about me breaking the law. I mean, you can't keep your hands to yourself, you know, but you sitting there, you know, condemning me. Stay off other people's property. They made it like as if I have a habit of doing this all the time and that I know what I'm doing. So, you know, the officers even made it like as if I knowingly broke the law. And I did not know. I did not know. You know. But, I mean, they were just abusing what they think was their fake power, as you saw in the video. You know. But the women, how are you a woman? And they are more aggressive and harder than the men. And extremely narcissistic. I mean, people in authority should not, like, people with narcissistic personalities. We all need a narc detector and a perp detector and a fake TI perp detector. You know. Excuse me. Yeah, people who are narcissistic abusers who have no empathy. They give 0 fucks. Now, they demand to be God. But at the same time, they tell you that you don't get special privileges. Like, you telling me I don't get special privileges just to freaking wash my hands after using the bathroom? Is that how jail is? That it's special privileges to wash your hands after using the bathroom? and you get told you don't get special privileges. And I heard that charges can be piled up on you when you're already in jail, and they say you'll catch another charge. They didn't tell me that, but they were telling the other women. But they bullied this other woman they bullied her, and I don't know where she went, but they moved her somewhere else. But they bullied her and ganged up on her. It was a white lady, and she was nice to me, but they ganged up on her and bullied her, and tried to get gangster and ghetto and wanted to fight her, and she got gangster and ghetto right back, and tried to verbally defend herself, but like the yelling and the arguing and fighting, it seemed like homeless shelters, even from when I was in Los Angeles, how the homeless shelters were, people arguing and fighting, or threatening to fight each other, at some freaking 5 o'clock in the morning. Every freaking morning, you can't get no doggone peace. But the women were complaining about the lights being on all the time, the whole time. But I'm glad the lights were on, because as filthy as it is, I would hate to be in the dark. Now, when I was at Union Rescue Mission, people compared it to prison. And it was like a prison dorm. And then the bathroom stalls, like there was every bodily fluid imaginable on every toilet. And you were forced to use the bathroom in the dark. I mean, all of that made my freaking OCD just even worse. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, I would never. I mean, I hate confinement. I hate being confined. And like when I was living in Denton, Texas, and when I was living in Bloomington, I felt so confined. And just being in that cabin, in the four walls, in that small little room, in that small little cabin. Excuse me, and I couldn't even venture out and travel around. I pretty much freaking went nuts, nearly, and then they were killing me with the weapons. And it's like I'm angry at what everything that the gang stalkers can get away with. But y'all self-righteous about pointing out my so-called crimes or whatever. So but I'm glad I was able to get some rest, and they're getting more aggressive with destruction. The destruction towards us targets, the ones that's still targeted. And don't you think it's corrupt that if somebody go to jail, and then if you agree to gang stalk someone, then you get a lighter prison sentence? That doesn't sound like corruption to you? Or that the police can be evil and wrong, and that they're criminals themselves? Criminals with badges. And I'm going to keep talking. So I'm going to go for now. I'll see y'all tomorrow.